So my roommate reached out to me earlier this week and let me know that her boyfriend was coming into town and she wanted to plan for all three of us to have breakfast together on Saturday morning. I was like, absolutely, that sounds like a great idea. I'll make some kind of pastry or baked good for breakfast. In which I decided it would be a perfect time to make croissants for the first time ever in my life. I'm also known for not reading through the entire recipe before I start to make something, and that's what happened this time. After reading through a lot of recipes and picking one, I finally just got started because it was just too much. I read a lot about having to make sure that the butter was cold enough, but not too cold. You didn't want it to melt in the dough, but you didn't want it to break in the dough. It was so confusing. It feels like too warm and too cold are very subjective. So I just didn't know what I was doing and I went for it anyways. Once I made the dough, I let it cool in the fridge, and then about 3 times over, once I laminated the dough with the butter, I'd fold it, I'd roll it out, and I'd pop it in the fridge for 30 minutes to an hour. But because I started this process much later than I should have, I did not start cutting and shaping the croissant dough until about 2 a.m., but I was not going to let that stop me. But because I had to have the croissants ready by a certain time in the morning, I had to work my math backwards, as most people who bake do. So if we were having breakfast at 9:15, I needed them to be done by that, and they needed to bake for about 30 minutes, so I needed to put them in the oven no later than 8:45. But prior to baking, they need to sit out and proof on the counter for 4 to 5 hours, so I just went with the 4-hour mark. And this meant that once I was done cutting and shaping, I put them in the fridge by about 3:15, and then I had to wake up at 4:30 to pull them out and let them sit on the counter to proof for 4 hours before I got up to preheat the oven and put them in before breakfast. They ended up rising really beautifully, and I was really proud of them. They're definitely not the prettiest croissants, but it was my first time making them, and I was really proud of myself. I ended up using a light egg wash to put on top of them before I popped them in the oven, which was a great choice. It gave them a great crispy color.
Okay, we have eaten breakfast, gone about our day. I even took a nap and recalled I did not show you the croissants that I made. This is the biggest one it made. It's not the prettiest, but this is my first time ever making croissants. And look at those flaky layers. It's so airy, it's so flaky, and I totally just destroyed it. And my friends that I had breakfast with said that it was the best croissant that they've ever had. This was an arduous process. It was the hardest thing I've ever baked. And it turned out so good.